Hey everyone, welcome to Creating the Comic, episode 0. So if you know me, whether you know me personally or maybe you followed me through the gym wits, you'd probably know that I'm the type of person that likes to take on different tasks and try new things. And in the last year and a half, one of the more interesting, or maybe the most interesting thing that I've done or tried has been creating a comic book. It's one of those things that is it's been one of the most illuminating experiences for me, and it's really a really collaborative process. There are a lot of pieces and people involved, and it's been really interesting to watch something come to life. So personally, I've always been a fan of comic books. I've been an avid reader. I have a decent sized collection of graphic novels and comics, and it's always been something that I've really enjoyed consuming. And then in the last year or so, I've always had ideas, stories I want to tell. And in the last year, there was a specific idea that I had that I thought this would be really good as a comic. There's a couple of visual things that I really thought this would work. And so I decided, well, how do I go about doing that? And again, that's where I really learned how interesting and again, collaborative of a process that is. And then as I've been producing some more things that are a little bit more on the creative side, I thought that doing a video series on creating comics is something that might be interesting and be of use. So obviously, I'm by no means an expert. I'm still learning, and there's a lot that I don't know. But I do feel that producing this, I think, works both selfishly and unselfishly. I think selfishly, it motivates me to keep doing it. I think by putting it out there that I'm doing this, it forces me to actually follow through and finish this comic. So at a minimum, I would like this series to see me through producing and delivering my first comic book, if not more. But then I guess on the selfless side, there is a lot that I've learned. And over the last year, having met a lot of different creators and talked to people that are in somewhere around my level, maybe a little further on, maybe a little further back, I found that maybe there are things in my own experience that people can learn from. And I know I found a little bit hard to find it. There is definitely a lot of content out there, but I thought sharing my experience might help some other creators on their own journeys. And so this, like I said, is episode 0 because I'm just kind of sharing background, and honestly, I'm not quite sure exactly how I'm going to go about this, what the format's going to be. I do know that there are very specific ideas and episodes that I would like to, go over. Things like the artist-writer relationship. How do you write a comic, because it's so much different from prose. Pitching your comic book. There are a lot of different things that we can talk about. So I do plan on producing quite a few videos, going through what I've been through and what I've experienced. But again, kind of still figuring it out. But there are other creators that I'd love to interview. There are people that are, have published, or are publishers that I'm working on getting on and doing interviews with. So I do plan on providing a decent amount of content, at least leading up to me producing my own comic book. So to give a little bit of background, and I'll get a little bit more into this and my own personal process later. But for me, like I said, I had an idea about a year and a half ago that I thought this would work for a comic, and I started working on that idea. But then in the process of kind of figuring things out for myself, I landed on a whole other idea that is being developed. And at the moment, I actually have the artwork about 90% finished. And we're just at the point now where I'm kind of I'm pitching it, and if the pitches don't work, then I'm going to go the crowdfunding route, because one of the great things about this world now is that you can use crowdfunding to produce comics fairly easily, as long as you do things properly. And so I think Kickstarter and there's a few other crowdfunding platforms out there now, but Kickstarter is the main one, where you can basically get your project funded and get it delivered, and you don't need the big publishers to do that. And so for me, I think I'm really encouraged by that, because whether or not a publisher is interested in my idea, doesn't matter, because I can always go that route. And that's what makes it really interesting. And so for me, the goal is to have figured that out by October, and that we know, okay, by October this year, we're either launching a campaign or I've found a home for my idea. So that's it. Look forward to the next few episodes. I definitely have an idea of what I want to do to start, because I think everybody has to get started, and so you got to figure out, okay, if you want to write a comic, where do you start? Because that was definitely a position that I was in. So thank you for taking the time to watch and or listen, and I look forward to sharing my experience in the future.